The flickering streetlight cast an eerie glow over the rain-soaked cul-de-sac as Special Agent Emily Chambers pulled up to the towering gates of Stonebridge Estates. An uneasy silence hung in the air, punctuated only by the soft patter of raindrops. Emily tightened her grip on the steering wheel, her heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and dread. This was no routine investigation. She was about to uncover the darkest secret of the most powerful homeowners association in the country. Stepping out of her car, Emily moved with purpose towards the intercom, her fingers hovering over the call button. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the confrontation ahead. "This is Special Agent Chambers with the FBI. I need to speak with the HOA president immediately." A crackle of static, then a voice laced with faint politeness. "I'm afraid the HOA president is unavailable at the moment. How can I assist you, Agent Chambers?" Emily's eyes narrowed. "This is a matter of national security. I need to talk to him now." A long pause, then a sigh. "Very well. I'll inform Mr. Blackwood of your arrival." The gate swung open, and Emily proceeded with caution, her senses heightened. The manicured lawns and pristine homes seemed to exude an air of unnatural perfection, as if the entire community was a facade concealing something sinister. Reaching the grand mansion at the center of the development, Emily squared her shoulders and strode up the steps, her footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. She raised her hand to knock, but the door swung open before she could. "Agent Chambers, I've been expecting you." The man standing before her was tall and imposing, his piercing gaze cutting through her like a knife. "I'm Thomas Blackwood, president of the Stonebridge Estates Homeowners Association. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?" Emily's expression remained neutral, but her mind raced with 100 questions. "Mr. Blackwood, I have reason to believe that your HOA is involved in illegal activities. I need you to come with me to the FBI field office for questioning." Blackwood's lips curled into a humorless smile. "I'm afraid I can't do that, Agent Chambers. Stonebridge Estates is a private community, and the HOA has the authority to handle any issues that arise within our borders." "This goes far beyond your authority, Mr. Blackwood." Emily's voice was firm, but there was a hint of unease in her eyes. "I have evidence of embezzlement, fraud, and even possible connections to organized crime. You're coming with me, one way or another." Blackwood's expression darkened, and he took a step forward, his imposing frame casting a shadow over Emily. "I'm afraid you're mistaken, Agent Chambers. Stonebridge Estates is my kingdom, and I answer to no one. Not the FBI, not the government, not even the law." He reached into his jacket, and Emily instinctively reached for her firearm, her fingers tightening around the grip. But Blackwood's hand emerged holding a small remote, and with a click, the front door slammed shut behind her, sealing her inside the mansion. Emily's heart raced as she realized she was trapped, surrounded by the power and influence of the corrupt HOA. Blackwood's cold, calculating gaze locked onto hers, and she knew that this was no ordinary investigation. This was a high-stakes power struggle, and only one side could emerge victorious. The air in the grand foyer was thick with tension as Emily Chambers and Thomas Blackwood faced off, the weight of their unspoken confrontation palpable. Blackwood's lips curled into a chilling smile, his eyes glinting with a mix of arrogance and malice. "You're a clever one, Agent Chambers, but you stepped into a game you don't understand." He pocketed the remote, his movements slow and deliberate. "Stonebridge Estates is far more than just an HOA. It's a carefully constructed empire built on the foundation of secrecy, power, and control." Emily's mind raced, trying to piece together the puzzle. "What are you talking about? What kind of empire are you running here?" Blackwood chuckled, the sound devoid of any warmth. "An empire built on the very principles that govern this community: conformity, obedience, and the illusion of perfection." He gestured around the lavish foyer, his eyes narrowing. "Every home, every resident, every aspect of life here is under our control. We decide the rules, and anyone who dares to defy us pays the price." Emily felt a chill run down her spine, her instincts screaming that she was in over her head. "So what happens to those who don't conform? What kind of price do they pay?" Blackwood's expression darkened, a shadow of something sinister flashing across his features. "That's not something you need to worry about, Agent Chambers. All that matters is that you're here, trapped within the walls of my kingdom, and I have no intention of letting you leave." With a nod, he turned and strode towards a set of ornate double doors, the sound of his footsteps echoing ominously in the cavernous space. Emily hesitated for a moment, her mind racing with possibilities before she followed, determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The doors opened to reveal a sprawling study, its walls lined with bookshelves and adorned with a collection of priceless artifacts. Blackwood seated himself behind a grand mahogany desk, his gaze never leaving Emily. "Now let's talk about this evidence you claim to have. I'm quite curious to see what you think you know." Emily straightened her shoulders, her eyes narrowing. I have records of embezzlement, fraud, and suspicious financial transactions linked to the Stonebridge Estates HOA. Not to mention the testimonies of several former residents who claim they were forced out of the community due to noncompliance. Blackwood's expression remained impassive, but Emily could see the wheels turning in his mind. Impressive, Agent Chambers. But I'm afraid those allegations will mean nothing. You see, the Stonebridge Estates HOA has a team of the best lawyers money can buy, and they've ensured that our operations are airtight. He leaned back in his chair, steepling his fingers. And as for those former residents, well, let's just say they've learned the hard way that crossing the HOA has consequences. Emily felt a chill run down her spine, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. So what? You're just going to bury me in legal red tape and intimidation tactics. I won't back down, Blackwood. I'll keep digging until I uncover the truth, no matter how deep it's buried. Blackwood's lips curled into a cruel smile. Oh, Agent Chambers, you have no idea what you're up against. Stonebridge Estates is more than just an HOA. It's a fortress, impenetrable and unyielding. And anyone who dares to challenge our authority will be destroyed. He pressed a button on his desk, and the sound of a door opening behind Emily made her spin around, her hand instinctively reaching for her weapon. But what she saw made her blood run cold. A group of armed security guards, their faces obscured by masks, blocking her only means of escape. Blackwood's laughter echoed through the room, a chilling sound that sent shivers down Emily's spine. Welcome to my kingdom, Agent Chambers. I hope you enjoy your stay. The tension in the study was palpable as Emily Chambers found herself surrounded by Blackwood's armed security guards, their faces hidden behind masks. She cursed herself for not calling for backup before confronting the powerful HOA president, but it was too late now. She was trapped with no clear path to escape. Blackwood's chilling laughter only served to heighten the sense of dread that permeated the room. You seem troubled, Agent Chambers. Did you really think you could just waltz in here and expose our secrets without facing the consequences? Emily's grip tightened on her weapon, her mind racing to find a way out of this predicament. This is kidnapping, Blackwood. Your goons won't be able to keep me here forever. The FBI will come looking for me. Blackwood's expression hardened, all trace of amusement vanishing. The FBI will find nothing here, Agent Chambers. Stonebridge Estates is a fortress, and we have ways of making people disappear. The guards moved closer, their weapons trained on Emily, and she knew she was running out of options. So what? You're just going to kill me? That would only confirm my suspicions and bring the full force of the FBI down on your precious HOA. Blackwood raised a hand, and the guards halted their advance. Kill you? Oh no, Agent Chambers, that would be far too simple. No, we have something much more, _entertaining in mind for you. He pressed a button on his desk, and a hidden door in the wall slid open, revealing a dimly lit passageway. Take her to holding cells. We'll let her stew for a while, then see if she's ready to cooperate. The guards surged forward, and Emily braced herself for a fight, but Blackwood's voice stopped them in their tracks. And be sure to confiscate her weapon. We can't have her getting any ideas. As the guards disarmed her and roughly escorted her towards the hidden passage, Emily's mind raced with possibilities. She needed to find a way to escape, to get a message to the FBI, to do _something before Blackwood and his twisted HOA could enact their sinister plans. The passageway was narrow and dimly lit, the air thick with the scent of damp concrete. Emily's eyes strained to adjust, her ears attuned to the slightest sound. She knew that somewhere in the depths of this labyrinth, the truth about Stonebridge Estates and its dark secrets lay waiting to be uncovered. The guards shoved her into a small, windowless cell, locking the heavy door behind her. Emily took a moment to survey her surroundings, her heart sinking as she realized the futility of her situation. The cell was bare, save for a small cot and a bucket in the corner. There was no way out, no way to call for help. As the sound of the guards' footsteps faded into the distance, Emily sat down on the cot, her mind racing. She had to find a way to escape, to get a message to the FBI, to expose the corruption and evil at the heart of Stonebridge Estates. But with no means of communication and no obvious weaknesses in her prison, the task seemed almost impossible. Emily's fingers traced the outline of the hidden compartment in her belt, where she had secreted a small, specially designed communicator. A last resort in case of emergencies. She knew that using it would alert the FBI to her predicament, but it would also risk drawing the full force of Blackwood's wrath down upon her. As she stared at the blank walls of her cell, Emily knew that she had to make a choice, to stay silent and hope for rescue, or to risk everything and fight back against the corrupt HOA that had ensnared her. Either way, the stakes had never been higher, and the fate of Stonebridge Estates, and perhaps even her own life, hung in the balance. Alone in the dimly lit cell, Emily Chambers felt the weight of her predicament pressing down on her. Blackwood and his twisted HOA had her trapped, with no clear path to escape. But she was no stranger to adversity, and she refused to give in to despair. Reaching into the hidden compartment of her belt, Emily's fingers closed around the small, specially designed communicator. She knew the risks. Using it would alert the FBI to her whereabouts, but it was also her best, and perhaps only, chance at survival. With a deep breath, Emily activated the device, sending a coded distress signal that she prayed would reach her colleagues. "This is Agent Chambers calling for immediate extraction. I'm being held captive by the Stonebridge Estates HOA. Repeat, this is not a drill. I need backup now." The device crackled to life, and for a moment, Emily's heart soared with hope. But the response that came was not what she had expected. "We're aware of your situation, Agent Chambers. Help is on the way." Emily's brow furrowed in confusion. "What? Who is this?" "This is Special Agent Liam Connors, FBI. We've been monitoring the Stonebridge Estates HOA for some time now, and we're ready to move in. Just hang tight, and we'll have you out of there as soon as possible." Emily's mind raced, trying to piece together the implications of Connor's words. "You've been monitoring them? How long have you known about this?" "Long enough to gather the necessary evidence and put together a plan of action," Connors replied, his voice calm and steady. "We've been waiting for the right moment to strike, and your arrival seems to have provided the perfect opportunity." Emily felt a surge of relief, tempered by a growing sense of unease. "So what happens now?" "Now we move in and take down the Stonebridge Estates HOA once and for all," Connors said, his tone hardening. "But we need you to stay put and stay out of sight. Can you do that, Agent Chambers?" Emily hesitated, her fingers tightening around the communicator. "I don't know if I can just sit back and wait, Connors. Blackwood and his goons are dangerous, and I don't want to risk them discovering your plan." "I understand your concern, Emily," Connors said, his voice tinged with empathy. "But this is a delicate operation, and we can't afford any missteps. You need to trust us to handle this." Emily felt a chill run down her spine as she contemplated the implications of Connors' words. "Just how delicate is this operation, Connors?" There was a brief pause, and when Connors spoke again, his voice was laced with a hint of regret. "Let's just say that we've been _accommodating the Stonebridge Estates HOA for longer than we like to admit. We've turned a blind eye to their activities in exchange for valuable intel and access to their operations." Emily's eyes widened in shock, her mind reeling. "You're telling me the FBI has been working with Blackwood and his cronies all this time?" "It's not that simple, Emily," Connors said, his tone defensive. "We've been playing a delicate game, trying to bring down the HOA from the inside. But now, with your discovery, we have the chance to strike a decisive blow." Emily felt a wave of nausea wash over her as the full implications of Connor's words sank in. "So you're willing to let me rot in this cell just to protect your own interests?" "I trusted you, Connors." "This isn't about our interests, Emily," Connors said, his voice hardening. "It's about the bigger picture. Sometimes we have to make difficult choices for the greater good. I'm sorry, but you're just going to have to trust us on this one." The communicator went silent, leaving Emily alone in the darkness, her heart pounding with a mixture of anger, fear, and betrayal. As she stared at the blank walls of her cell, she knew that she could no longer count on the FBI for help. She was on her own, trapped in the heart of Blackwood's twisted empire, and the only way out was to find a way to fight back. Anger and disbelief swirled within Emily Chambers as she processed the revelations from her conversation with Special Agent Connors. The very organization she had sworn to protect had been complicit in the corruption and deceit at the heart of Stonebridge Estates, sacrificing her safety for the sake of their own agenda. Gripping the communicator tightly in her hand, Emily felt a surge of determination. She may have been betrayed by the FBI, but she was not about to let Blackwood and his twisted HOA win. This was her fight, and she would be damned if she was going to let them bury the truth. Closing her eyes, Emily took a deep breath, her mind racing as she tried to devise a plan of action. She knew that she couldn't rely on the FBI for help, which meant she would have to find a way to escape on her own. But with the security measures in place and the sheer power of the HOA at Blackwood's disposal, the task seemed almost impossible. As she scanned the small cell, her gaze fell upon the bucket in the corner. A spark of inspiration ignited within her, and she quickly set to work. Using the limited resources at her disposal, she crafted a makeshift tool, a thin metal rod that she could use to pry open the cell door. Time seemed to crawl by as Emily worked tirelessly, her fingers blistered and sore from the effort. But she refused to give up, driven by a burning desire to expose the darkness that lurked within Stonebridge Estates. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Emily heard the familiar click of the lock and the heavy door swung open. Heart pounding, she crept out into the dimly lit passageway, her eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of the guards. The hallway was eerily silent, and Emily moved with a cautious, calculated grace, her senses heightened to the slightest sound or movement. As she navigated the winding corridors, she couldn't help but marvel at the sheer size and complexity of Blackwood's hidden lair, a labyrinth of secrets and deception concealed beneath the pristine facade of the Stonebridge Estates community. Rounding a corner, Emily froze as the sound of voices reached her ears. Pressing herself against the wall, she strained to listen, her heart racing as she recognized Blackwood's low, menacing tone. "The FBI is moving in, and they're bringing the full force of the law down on us. We need to act quickly before they can dismantle everything we built." Emily's brow furrowed as she processed Blackwood's words. The FBI was making its move, but it seemed that Connors had chosen to keep her in the dark, using her as a pawn in his own twisted game. "What about the girl?" a second voice asked, laced with a hint of concern. Blackwood's response was cold and dismissive. "She's of no use to us now. Dispose of her and make sure there's no trace left behind." Emily's blood ran cold as the realization hit her. Blackwood was planning to eliminate her, to silence her forever, and cover up the truth about the Stonebridge Estates HOA. She couldn't let that happen, not when she was so close to unraveling the mystery. Gripping the makeshift tool tightly in her hand, Emily steeled her nerves and stepped out from her hiding place, her gaze locked onto Blackwood's cold, calculating eyes. "Not so fast, Blackwood. This isn't over yet." The HOA president's expression shifted from surprise to a twisted, triumphant grin. Well, look who's decided to join the party. I must say, I'm impressed, Agent Chambers. But it's too late. The die has been cast, and there's no going back." Emily knew that the stakes had never been higher. She was trapped, alone, and outmatched, but she refused to go down without a fight. With a deep breath, she charged forward, ready to face whatever Blackwood and his twisted HOA had in store for her. The tension in the dimly lit corridor was palpable as Emily Chambers confronted the powerful Stonebridge Estates HOA president, Thomas Blackwood. Her heart raced with a mix of fear and determination, knowing that she was vastly outnumbered and outmatched yet unwilling to back down. Blackwood's lips curled into a twisted smile as he regarded her, his eyes glinting with a predatory intensity. Well, look who's decided to join the party. I must say, I'm impressed, Agent Chambers. But it's too late. The die has been cast, and there's no going back." Emily gripped the makeshift tool tighter in her hand, her muscles tense and ready to spring into action. "It's not over yet, Blackwood. I'm not going to let you and your twisted HOA get away with this." Blackwood's expression darkened, a shadow of malice flickering across his features. "Oh, but it underscores over Agent Chambers. The FBI is on their way, and they're not coming to save you. In fact, they're here to help clean up this little mess." Emily's brow furrowed in confusion, her mind racing to process the implications of Blackwood's words. "What are you talking about? The FBI is coming to take you down and not work with you." Blackwood let out a dark chuckle, his gaze never leaving hers. "That's where you're wrong, my dear. You see, the FBI has been in our pocket for years, turning a blind eye to our activities in exchange for valuable intelligence and access to our operations." Emily felt a chill run down her spine as the pieces began to fall into place. "Connors," she whispered, her voice laced with betrayal and disgust. Blackwood nodded, a triumphant gleam in his eyes. "Ah, so you've already had the pleasure of speaking with our dear friend, Agent Connors. I must say he's been an invaluable asset to our organization." Emily's mind raced, her heart pounding with a mix of anger and despair. "So what, you're just going to let them kill me and cover up your crimes?" Blackwood shrugged, his expression nonchalant. "It's nothing personal, Agent Chambers. Just the price you pay for getting too close to the truth. Though I must say, I'm surprised you managed to escape your cell. Impressive, but ultimately futile." He raised a hand, and the sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the corridor. Emily braced herself, her grip tightening on the makeshift tool as a group of armed guards emerged from the shadows, their weapons raised. But just as the guards moved to apprehend her, a deafening explosion rocked the hallway, sending debris and dust flying in all directions. Emily instinctively ducked, shielding her face as the ground trembled beneath her feet. Through the haze, she caught sight of a familiar figure, clad in a bulletproof vest and wielding a powerful rifle. FBI. Hands in the air, Blackwood. Blackwood's expression morphed from one of shock to one of pure fury, and he turned to his guards, his voice laced with venom. "Kill them all." The corridor erupted into chaos as the guards opened fire, their bullets ricocheting off the walls and ceiling. Emily ducked and weaved, her makeshift tool forgotten as she scrambled for cover, her heart pounding in her ears. Amid the deafening gunfire, she caught a glimpse of the FBI agent, his face partially obscured by his tactical gear. "Agent Chambers, this way," he shouted, motioning for her to follow. Without hesitation, Emily sprinted towards the agent, her lungs burning as she dodged the hail of bullets. As she reached his position, he grabbed her arm, his grip firm and urgent. We need to get you out of here now. The rest of the team is closing in, but we can't afford to lose you." Emily's eyes narrowed, her trust in the FBI shaken to the core. "I'm not going anywhere until I get the truth." The agent's expression hardened, but before he could respond, a thunderous explosion rocked the corridor, sending them both tumbling to the ground. The world around Emily Chambers erupted into chaos as the corridor shook with the force of the explosion. Debris rained down from the ceiling, and the air was thick with the acrid smell of smoke and gunpowder. Coughing and disoriented, Emily struggled to regain her footing, her eyes scanning the scene for any sign of the FBI agent who had promised to help her. But as the dust began to settle, she realized that he was nowhere to be found, and in his place stood the imposing figure of Thomas Blackwood, his face twisted with a malicious grin. Well, Agent Chambers, it seems our little dance has taken an unexpected turn." Blackwood's voice was laced with a smug satisfaction, and Emily felt a chill run down her spine. "What have you done, Blackwood?" she demanded, her voice hoarse from the choking smoke. Blackwood's expression darkened, and he gestured towards the debris-strewn corridor. "I've done what I must to protect my empire, Agent Chambers. You and your FBI friends have become an inconvenience, and I can't afford to let you interfere any longer." Emily's heart raced as she realized the implications of his words. The explosion had been a deliberate act, a calculated move to eliminate the FBI's presence and solidify Blackwood's control of the situation. "So, what, you're just going to kill me now?" she spat, her eyes narrowing in defiance. Blackwood's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Oh no, my dear. I have something much more _entertaining in mind for you." With the snap of his fingers, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the corridor, and Emily felt her blood run cold as a group of masked guards emerged from the shadows, their weapons trained on her. "Take her to the holding cells," Blackwood commanded, his voice cold and unyielding. "And this time, make sure she doesn't escape." The guards surged forward, and Emily braced herself for the inevitable, her mind racing with 1,000 different scenarios, each more dire than the last. But just as the guards were about to seize her, a sudden commotion erupted from the opposite end of the corridor, drawing their attention. Emily's heart leaped with hope as she caught a glimpse of familiar uniforms and the familiar sound of gunfire. "The FBI!" she exclaimed, her voice laced with a mix of relief and trepidation. Blackwood's expression darkened, and he turned to his guards, his voice laced with urgency. "Don't just stand there, you fools. Stop them." The guards hesitated for a moment, their weapons wavering. In that split second, Emily saw her chance. Mustering every ounce of her strength, she lunged forward, snatching a weapon from the nearest guard and opening fire. The corridor erupted into a chaotic dance of bullets and shouts as Emily and the FBI agents exchanged fire with Blackwood's guards. She moved with a desperate, frantic energy, her mind focused solely on survival and the pursuit of the truth. As the battle raged on, Emily caught a glimpse of Blackwood, his face contorted with rage as he attempted to flee the scene. Without hesitation, she turned her weapon towards him, her finger squeezing the trigger. But just as she was about to fire, searing pain exploded in her shoulder, and she cried out in agony, her weapon clattering to the ground. Clutching her wound, she watched in horror as Blackwood made his escape, disappearing into the labyrinth of corridors. Wounded and disoriented, Emily stumbled backwards, her vision blurring as the sound of gunfire and chaos faded into the distance. She had come so close only to have her triumph snatched away. But even as the darkness began to close in, she refused to give up, her determination fueled by a burning desire to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The world spun around Emily Chambers as she struggled to maintain consciousness, the searing pain in her shoulder a constant reminder of the high-stakes battle that had just taken place. Blackwood had slipped through her fingers, escaping into the labyrinth of Stonebridge Estates, and with him the answers she had risked so much to uncover. Through the haze of her blurred vision, Emily could make out the silhouettes of FBI agents, their weapons still drawn as they secured the area. She knew that they had come to her aid, but the memory of Connor's betrayal still lingered, casting a shadow of doubt over the loyalties of the bureau she had sworn to serve. With a groan, Emily tried to push herself up, only to be gently restrained by a pair of firm hands. "Easy there, Agent Chambers. We've got you." She blinked, her eyes slowly focusing on the face of the agent before her. It was not Connor's, but a woman with a stern, determined expression. "Who are you?" Emily rasped, her voice barely above a whisper. "Special Agent Olivia Reyes." The woman replied, her tone calm and reassuring. "We got your distress signal and came as quickly as we could." "Can you tell me what happened?" Emily felt a surge of relief, but it was quickly tempered by the lingering sense of betrayal. "Connors," she murmured, the name laced with venom. "He's been working with Blackwood with the HOA." Agent Reyes' expression darkened, and she nodded grimly. "We suspected as much. Connors has been on our radar for some time now, but we've never been able to pin anything concrete on him." Emily winced as Reyes applied pressure to her wound, the pain searing through her like a hot knife. Then why didn't you act sooner? Why let this go on for so long? Reyes let out a heavy sigh. It's complicated, Agent Chambers. Blackwood and his HOA have their tentacles in every corner of this community, and Connors has been our only inside source. We've been trying to build a case to take them down from the inside, but it's been a delicate dance. Emily's eyes narrowed, her distrust of the Bureau evident in her expression. And where did that leave me? Trapped and betrayed, while you sat back and let it all unfold. Ray's gaze hardened, but there was a glimmer of empathy in her eyes. I know it doesn't feel that way, but we're underscore trying to protect you. Connors kept us informed of your involvement, and we moved in as soon as we could. Well, it wasn't soon enough. Emily spat, the pain and anguish of her ordeal fueling her anger. Blackwood got away, and who knows what other secrets he's still hiding. Reyes nodded solemnly. We'll find him, Agent Chambers, and we'll get to the bottom of this, I promise you. But for now, you need to focus on recovering. You've been through a hell of an ordeal. Emily opened her mouth to protest, but the world around her began to blur and spin, the weight of her injuries finally catching up to her. As the darkness closed in, she knew that her fight was far from over. Blackwood and the corrupt HOA were still out there, and she would stop at nothing to bring them down. When Emily finally regained consciousness, she found herself in a sterile hospital room, the steady beep of medical equipment the only sound that broke the silence. Her shoulder throbbed with a dull ache, the constant reminder of the battle she had endured. Turning her head, she caught sight of Agent Reyes, her expression somber. Welcome back, Agent Chambers. We've got a lot to discuss. Emily's eyes narrowed, her determination unwavering. Then let's get started. I'm ready to bring down this twisted HOA once and for all. Reyes nodded, a glimmer of respect in her eyes. That's what I was hoping you'd say. Get some rest, Emily. We've got a long fight ahead of us. As the world faded around her, Emily felt a surge of resolve. Blackwood and its corrupt empire would not escape her grasp. She would uncover the truth, no matter the cost, and bring an end to the dark secrets that had festered within Stonebridge Estates.